Imagine you wake up and you're caked up. Your friends got their handouts cause you the oven baker. Betty Crocker meets Aunt Jemima without the head wrap. Disrespect, it's a rap. Get your head tapped with the Chinese acupressure. Meet Jamaica from Ocho Rios to Cuatro Cinco. I'm a staker. It's only right I invest in Hex. I got the voodoo in my DNA cause my bloodline royal. Every man, woman, and child leaves the toilet bowl soiled. I live my life to the fullest before I return to the soil. And y'all spoiled. Bigger than you fire intros to my videos. Who know how high the price of Hex can go? You know we hit the mainstream when you see Redman and Method Man with Richard Hart in the video. The white moon boots tells the truth, and the blockchain serves as proof. If you have a missing tooth, you good, as long as you can take care of the youth. Not many will understand, it's only a few. And if you still don't understand it, it wasn't meant for you. And shout out to the Anunnaki. I'm sipping hot sake, wondering why I never liked watching hockey. Maybe it's cause I'm Haitian, cause of soccer. I don't like when people speak kaki or kaka. I used to drink the Goya Malta, crush the yerba in a spliff, puffin' lala, off the coast of Labadee, Sandy Beach. It's magic in your face, voila. What's going on, everybody? It's the Crypto Wonder, your host of the Crypto Wonder podcast. What's the deal? I hope you're doing well for you and everyone you care about. So let's get right into it. We're one day closer to the next all-time high for Hex, one day closer to the ending of the PulseX sacrifice, one day closer to the PulseChain mainnet launch. Powerful and incredible. There's some things that I want to highlight in this episode regarding sort of like narrow views, narrow-mindedness, right? One of the things that I found in crypto, just like in any other market, you have people who, this tribal mentality, this herd mentality, that's almost toxic, especially when I got into Bitcoin and I saw how, back in 2017 when the fork was happening and the opposing views from, the different Bitcoin camps at the time, 8 megabyte blocks and, the whole thing with Roger Ver and his group and versus everybody else, SegWit, it sort of like turned me off, right? It turned me off as far as how people are just so disrespectful to one another. I mean, with a vengeance, with hate, because money was involved. And someone always wants to remain right. Someone always wants to have the stance where you are wrong and they are right. And I never forgot that time period and the disposition that people held. And to this day, you have that still going on among people who hold Bitcoin, among people who only believe in Bitcoin. It's I get the perceived power that Bitcoin was supposed to bring to the world. Unfortunately, everyone cannot share in that power fairly. There's not an equitable distribution when you have 40 or 45% of the wallets holding the majority of the coins. They say so many millions have been lost forever and you still have whatever is left, and then a certain percentage, like I said, 40 to 45 that are held by, less than 3,000 wallets. It's you have 7 billion people on this planet, man. Like the control, how people are so punch drunk to be in control and be in power, and to wield it in such a way where it feeds their greed and it hurts the majority of people, because everyone can't share, everyone can't participate the same, you know? And the herd mentality can be very, very toxic. It can. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I like Hex like the next believer. I do. I like Pulse. I'm definitely looking forward to PulseX. That's just the truth. Um, and I'm not going to shun other people personally who may like something else. Who cares? If they like something else, that's what they like. Judging them, like misjudging them and applying just my own projections of whatever, doesn't help the situation. It doesn't really help the cryptocurrency space, unless I'm doing it where I'm trying to really educate people on the bad practices in crypto. And if I hear of, a project or coins that has not fared well for people, I'll give my opinion. I'll give my thoughts. But just like anything else, we all have them, right? Opinions. And keep it moving. I'm not going to vilify people, right? And make them feel less than because they like something else. It is what it is. Everybody's not going to like what you like. Doesn't mean you close the door on everyone, because how do you encourage mass adoption, right? Because then it becomes cultish. It becomes this gang, this herd mentality that I've never been in a gang. I've never been in a cult. Those types of groups and some people, because of the way I've been so pro Hex and PulseChain, people could say that there's a level of brainwashing there. It's whatever, because I have my understanding of what things are, and people don't understand my story and where I've come from and what I've done in crypto and experienced in crypto. You know what I mean? So whatever somebody else's thinks doesn't pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? What they eat doesn't make me shit. So it's whatever. But when I see how folks are just like, no, I'm the best, we the best, this and that. Look, numbers don't lie. So if the numbers capture a certain truth, then that's what it is. And I guess the reason why a lot of that is going on, especially with Hex, is because there's just too much garbage out there. There's just too much garbage that people stand on, where they think that, what they got is the best. And unfortunately, like even with Bitcoin, like, no, bruh, like, no, this Bitcoin isn't it. I'm sorry to say, it's designed to perform and function a certain way, but what it was originally programmed to do, for example, become programmable money, it's not. 13 years later, it's very clunky. It's seen now as a store of wealth. It's looked upon as digital gold. That's been the narrative for Bitcoin since 2017. Digital gold. Like, you can't even just go to the coffee shop or go to your local convenience store and chop it up with whatever vendor and spend some Bitcoin to get whatever you need. It's not there. It's not there for that, Richard Hart calls it spaghetti code, right? You have to wait sometimes untold amount of time for transactions to go through. It's just not feasible, right? For real use, other than storing some type of value, perceived value, right? But I don't like how the community, Bitcoin maxis, vilify everything else. Like, I never saw the use in that. Like, imagine if Richard Hart did not expand his view and still was a diehard Bitcoin maxi. Imagine what the crypto, what life, would be as far as crypto, right? He even had to expand as you step outside of his circle of comfort and awareness and realize that, oh, wait a minute, the first smart contract blockchain in the world has more to offer than Bitcoin. I had a hard time believing that too, because I was buying into the Bitcoin narrative. I was buying into that sauce. But then I had to wake up too and realize, like, no, wait, Ethereum, you can do a lot with Ethereum that you cannot do with Bitcoin. And unfortunately, Ethereum's took forever to do what they're doing, what they're supposed to do or promised to do as far as launch their 2.0. I mean, that's been said a billion times, right? Over. And we're still waiting. And now the gas fees have just been just extremely problematic for people to use the chain, where projects had to basically come at a standstill because they couldn't develop on the chain because the fees were just ridiculous and too expensive and high. It made me think that, a lot of times founders of these blockchains and these exchanges, once they make their money, they're not really incentivized to work hard for the world because they have their money. They could sit back, chill. They're paid already. They're rich. They don't care what you're waiting for. The miners don't care what we're waiting for as far as the world. They don't. They're receiving. They're just due. They have the machines that pollute the environment that, help them earn these tokens and coins. So they're not incentivized to go with proof of stake anything because that takes away from them. And this is how the whole Bitcoin was created, on top of the whole proof of work model. And here we are today looking to advance because this is what happens. Technology advances. Technology changes, right? 15 years ago, 16 years ago, 2007 was the first introduction to the smartphone as far as the world knew it for the iPhone. Right? 20 years ago, we had no clue that an iPhone was going to come out, that we were just going to be swiping, our information and communicating just from finger swipes on a screen. Technology advances. Things change. And that's what's happening with Bitcoin. This is what even Ethereum is showing. Like, things change. And you have to adapt with the times. You have to adapt with the times and open your view, open your perspective. Otherwise, you get caught up and just miss so many chances and opportunities for advancement. I don't understand metaverse right now. I personally don't understand metaverse, and I barely understand NFT. But they're serving some type of purpose. And I can't just say it's all 100% crap yet, right? Like, it's there for a reason. Maybe if they're around the next a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you'll see, okay, how it grows and how it advances and what it brings to the world, I remember when DeFi was a thing 3 years ago, and the word DeFi, people shunned that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were like, oh no, dismiss this. What's that? Masternodes. Folks didn't, care for that. Dash was considered a scam. The first blockchain to introduce masternodes, a fork of of Bitcoin, was the first chain to introduce masternodes. Like, an idea to show how people, when you hold a token, it could accrue some type of yield, became a thing. And now it's not really as popular as it was, but it's still happening, and it's just morphs into other levels of technology and operation. This is what this is about. This is what this is about. Not frowning upon change, because change can be difficult. Change, people are resistant to it. People are resistant to change. But when you see that there's so much flourishing taking place and growth that's taking place around your scope, while you're still stuck in your Bitcoin box mentality or your whatever tribal mentality, then that hurts you. That just hurts you. And we don't have the time to be wasting like this, Every day we live is the day for us to just seize the moment, because we don't know when it's going to be our last. We don't have the time to be just like, fighting and stuff, even though that's just going to happen. I'm not here to preach about people shouldn't fight, because that's how you bring change too. There's a purpose of why people argue and there's war and blah, blah, blah. You can't have one without the other. You can't have peace without conflict and tribulation. We get that. But the bottom line is uprooting ourselves from a certain level of hardship by having the resources, by having the money, by acquiring what we need, but through having money, so that we can be in a better space, in a better position financially, economically, to provide for ourselves and our family, and not have to spend 90% of our waking lives and hours worrying about how we're going to get more money. That's been the fundamental problem. That's the struggle. That's the challenge. That's the conflict. That's why when I speak on my channel, this is why I talk about things like this. I always bring it back to real life, because I understand joy and being happy and excited, but the majority of the world is not experiencing that. And we still live in the world. We still live in the world among people who struggle, among people who are existing in abject poverty. Okay, we can't lose sight of that. We cannot, because if you do, you become a target. You welcome unwanted attention. It becomes a safety issue. It becomes an issue where you just become the point of reference, where people who are not so kind may want to pay you some type of visit. You understand? Some unsavory characters and unfavorable types of experiences can happen. This is why we have to just like have some type of our feet on the ground, like be down to earth in a sense. You know what I mean? You can't just be living in the sky in this dream of being rich and wealthy. Meanwhile, everyone else is struggling, because we know with everything going on with Hex and PulseChain and PulseX, there's going to be people who just won't have it. They're not going to have the opportunity that's in front of all of us right now. This opportunity is in front, and it's available to anyone and everyone in the world right now. And you know they're not going to join, and it's okay. We see what's happening. We understand the whole thing with the gatekeeping. Let it be what it's supposed to be, because what's happening is, while they continue to gatekeep, while whoever wants to try to keep Hex down and the future products down, you see it's not happy. You see that that's actually fueling. It's actually giving credence, lending credence to how powerful and how useful and how important Hex is to the world, how important and useful PulseChain and PulseX will be to the world and future products. You understand? Because they know they can't keep something good down. It could only be so long. You could only do that for so long, because then they start to look crazy, as they've been looking crazy for a very long time. Let it be that. And then that's going to actually help uncover, open up the can of worms, like Pandora's box. Seriously. Because we see the corruption is real. It's real. It's a part of life. It is what it is. So what position are you going to play? Right? I don't talk about other coins, other tokens, because I don't feel the need to. I just don't. But if other people do, it's not a problem for me. I give them respect. I salute them, because the thing is, everybody's not always right all the time. Where we're fortunate enough is to find out about Hex and the great work that Hex does and will continue to do. And it's powerful, and we want everyone to be in on it. But we have to understand everyone's not going to be in on it for whatever reason. And let it be that. Don't let that energy drive you nuts to where you have to just fight each other. I saw a thing recently where, Hexicans warring with each other, and it's like, why? What's the point? What's the point? Again, we're the ones that mess things up. The blockchain does what it does. Apart from us, we're the ones that find loopholes, and we trip ourselves up along the way towards greatness. Maybe that's how life is in that sense. Maybe, perhaps we have to continue to move like that. But when I watch the different streams, when I watch the different blogs, when I watch the Twitter, when I watch Richard Hart streams and all this stuff, it points in a certain direction of success. Okay? That's what it does. I eliminated all the other stuff I used to pay attention to because what I ingest will help me. If I ingest something that's positive, it'll definitely help me and it'll help you. When you ingest drama, your life becomes filled with conflict, internal conflict. You start to, whatever, it'll affect you one way or another. Whether you believe it or not, it's not for me to convince you. But I've just sort of like, in order to appreciate these great gifts that we have by way of Hex, soon to be PulseChain and PulseX, you have to study it. You have to really understand what this is about. Really how, like, I've had conversations with people in my normal life where they talk about, how long it's going to take for them to retire. They've been working, slaving for 40 years and they can't retire yet. They have to extend their date to leave like by 5, even 6, 10 more years after working for 40 years. I try to educate them on crypto, and specifically these products I talk about, to give them an option and an alternative. It's up to them if they want to, take heed or use that lifeline or not. But then my job is done. It's just done. I'm not going to vilify them. I'm not going to hate them because I was once a person who didn't believe in Hex, until I realized that, I made a severe mistake and it's going to happen. But to table all the negative, like that nonsense, the drama, the scandal is good for views, is good for but that doesn't pay your bills. What's paying T-shares is what matters, right? Staking is what matters. Learning how those operations work, and actually developing interests and creative abilities or whatever, even if you don't have any creative abilities, or to work in a way where you want to help to advance this quote unquote crypto hexagon pulsecan culture, then do something in your normal life that'll help spread the word, that'll help share and just basically give information to people so they can see and they can make a choice for themselves, and then the market will expand and everyone will benefit. Technically, when you onboard more people and they stake, it kind of like diminishes the returns for everyone else who's staking. So it's not, depends on how you see it. It's not really that beneficial, but we know overall it is. It is beneficial for everybody because it's giving people a chance to achieve some type of freedom for whatever it may mean to you versus what they're going through right now, right? And we're talking about regular people. I'm not talking about people who are uber wealthy right now. I'm talking about regular human beings who just work to get by and who live less than paycheck to paycheck. And within the advent of these last 2 years, things have just been chaotic, crazy. And so Hex actually gives an option. When you're staking 15 years, it's easy to say, yeah, you're going to be wealthy, right? For sure. But what are you going to do in the meantime between now and 15 years from now, right? What type of quality of life are you going to live? You have to be creative. You have to think outside the box, just like the founder had to think outside the box and allow himself to understand that everything is not about Bitcoin. He got into Ethereum and created Hex, right? We have to do the same in our own way. We have to do the same in our own way, because he could give some jewels, but it's up to us to take it and apply the information in a useful and way that'll benefit us, that'll be beneficial to us and our loved ones, right? Because if we don't do that, then we'll miss out. We close the door, right? We shut our eyes and close our ears and our mouths, and then the world continues to pass us by. And then how fair is that? When we do finally wake up, it may very well be too late. That's why I always say, if you don't get on this now, you will be left behind. The majority of us didn't get on Bitcoin. We got left behind. The majority of us didn't get on Bitcoin when Bitcoin launched. We got left behind. And those who held since then are doing great monetarily, I guess, right? So a lot of us who missed out on Hex, didn't experience the 10,000x liquid, 20,000x staking, right? So you have a chance now to experience those things by working hard. Yes, we staking is affording us the opportunity to just sit back and earn yield passively. That's cool. But we have to actively work to improve the quality of our lives in other ways, to think broad, more broad, because everything in life is not about money. We've been programmed to think that. We've been programmed. If we've been indoctrinated in the school system, especially in the United States, we've been trained to work, not to own, right? We've been trained to be worker bees, not to own. And we've been trained to slave in that capacity, in those positions for decades, to the point where our bodies break down. And then when it's time to retire, we have a few years left to enjoy life and enjoy the world, and then go to the next life or whatever. You know what I mean? So this is a time for us to use these opportunities that I firmly believe they're just gifts. We were gifted these things, right, through Richard, and just use them. Use them. They're available to us. It's better to, in my opinion, and I'm not a financial advisor, to take a portion of whatever resources you have, and instead of investing in some Amiri jeans or a Montclair jacket like these young kids are practically shooting each other for, legitimately, take a portion of that, a percentage of that, and throw it into Hex. You could throw it into PulseX Sacrifice. We got a couple more days before the bonding curve starts. You understand? Like, because you don't know where this can go. At least be in the fold instead of being outside, wondering, wishing, and regretting that you didn't get in. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say for now, people. Listen, I understand there's a Hex conference going on. Shout out to the Hex community. That's dope. That's fire. And, keep doing everybody who's doing the right thing, keep doing the right thing, man. Keep doing the right thing, man. It's about upward movement. It's about, building and repairing our health, improving our health and well-being, and generating this massive wealth, man. Respect your wealth, respect yourself, and keep it moving. Talk to y'all later. Peace.